Coming up on today's show, we're talking offensive line and why I think this latest update on that unit as a whole is a damn good one and should make us feel better about the crew heading into 2025. Comes to us from CBS Sports' Garrett Podell, who's done some good stuff as of late for the Dallas Cowboys, covering the Dallas Cowboys. Mostly focuses on Duke Manyweather's impact on the Cowboys on the offensive line, as all 5 starters, and some backups too, by the way, are working with the offensive line with Manyweather for this upcoming season, which again, as we'll get into, I think there's a lot of positive things to glean from this, because the offensive line for Dallas has to be good this year. They've invested too much. Multiple first-round picks, multiple top 100 picks, a contract to the right tackle for the O-line to not be good. And if you want the Cowboys offensive line to be good this year, show it by liking today's video, please and thank you. Before we go player by player with what they're working on for this upcoming season, I want to spend a bit of time on who the heck Duke Manyweather is. If you're a diehard Cowboys fan, you probably know the name, since this is the personal offensive line coach, i.e. the one that guys work with when they're not in season. He has worked with Cowboys offensive linemen for years. All 5 starters currently, and some of the backups, guys like Brock Hoffman and others, train with him, work with him, develop under him. And the Cowboys coaches and Manyweather are working together on this to have the same strategy plan going into what they want to accomplish. Here's what Duke told CBS Sports. After about an hour of talking and working through this stuff with guys like Conor, Riley, and the current coaching staff, we're on the same page. We're saying everything through one set of eyes. That's just me being like, hey, I don't want to do your job, but allow me to continue to progress these guys as much as possible when you guys can't come in some of the downtime where coaches can't work with players. So my job isn't really to change anything that these guys are doing, but it's to make these guys more effective and efficient in what they are asked to do. The entire starting 5 offensive line is working with Duke Manny. Plus some of the backups, guys like Brock Hoffman, others are also working with Duke. In many ways, he is kind of the secret offensive line coach for the Cowboys, but he's also that for a lot of players, but he's based in Frisco. The front office and Duke have a good relationship. Duke's never going to come be the actual Cowboys offensive line coach because we're kind of at the point where a personal offensive line coach / trainer of this caliber is actually probably more valuable to you outside of the normal limitations of coaches and players. He is not subject to the same stuff that NFLPA and the CBA require. Duke can work with you as much as you want. That's because he's a personal coach. So I think his role is perfect for what the Cowboys want out of their offensive line. So be honest with me here, and then we'll go what each guy is working on here in a second. How would you grade this Cowboys offensive line right now? A, B, C, D, or F? Sound off in the comments section of today's show. Let's go from left tackle to right tackle. I want to begin with Tyler Gayton, because despite some claims, speculation, theory that they are no longer working together, that is not the case. Those two are clearly still operating together and still working together per both Duke and Gayton comments in the article, and even stuff outside of that too. There was one out of context tweet I think got bent out of shape a little bit there. We'll discuss the areas of focus, again, all per CBS Sports, of what these guys are working on. For Gayton, it's posture, strength, and balance, which in a way all kind of get tied into each other for offensive line play. Here's what Gayton said. Posture all throughout the rep. Stance, start and finish. Posture all the way throughout the rep. The way you should stand. The way your weight is transition on your feet, where you lean, knee bend, ankle flexion. A bowed back, not being too relaxed and being somewhere in the middle where you're comfortable, where you can move and be quick and efficient. The crux of the Tyler Gayton issues have really been technique. He looks like a guy who hasn't played a lot of offensive tackle in his time in high school and college. He'll lunge. He'll drop it like he's almost headbutting somebody. And that's a bad spot to be as an offensive lineman. You're out of position. And the best best edge rushers are going to find a way to cook you. And now you're beat or you're holding, and there you go. And then I think confidence issues this year too. As we'll get into at the end of the show, I think your last actual offensive line coach had some issues overall. Gayton is a developmental tackle. There is going to be ups and downs. That's how it goes. I need to see more ups than what we saw last year, though. We need to see some development. And so far, he's saying all the right things. He's changing his body. He knows he wasn't good enough last year. He's working with Duke. He's working some with Tyron Smith, who is on the same page, I'm sure, as Duke. Like, he's doing the things he needs to do to be better. Jury is out if that will lead to him being better. I think there are tangible steps we can see of him trying to be a better player in year 2. Because of that, I am not out on Gayton yet. I don't think it's fair to be out on any first-round pick after a year. You can have concerns, but I would not be out on him. But this is America. This is democracy. You can vote. Are you out on Gayton? Y for yes, N for no. Let's go to Tyler Smith. We won't spend much time on this one. Look, with Zach Martin gone, and I think you could have made the argument last year this was already the case, I think Tyler Smith is the best offensive lineman on the Cowboys. The areas of focus was getting off the ball quickly, establishing those first 3 steps to maximize your leverage and your power, which just, to me, kind of reads of be dominant. it's kind of how I essentially interpret that one. And I think that's what you're going to see out of Tyler Smith this year. I think more growth and better play from the guys around him. The offensive line in general, I think chemistry, consistency, all of those big picture stuff matter a lot. I don't like constant shuffling. I don't like consistent adjustments. Your 5 guys all working under the same guy, I think ends up leading to good results, and I think Smith will benefit from that this season. As we've mentioned previously, this Dak Prescott jersey, t-shirt, jersey, number shirt, whatever you want to call it, is just $10. They were $39 over on Fanatics. Now they're $10. Go get yours today at chatsports.com/Dak shirt. Let's head to Cooper Beebe. And I am excited about him. I was very excited about him when the Cowboys took him, and I am excited now. He continues to get work at center with focus on the reps, and his offhand, his non-snapping hand usage since, he's not quite the same as playing guard from that perspective. Here's what Duke said on Beebe, who, by the way, he worked with Beebe pre-draft too. A lot of these guys did. But he says, honestly, he was moved to center, and he really didn't have any detailed coaching or development in season or making that transition. What he had was basically what we had worked on in the offseason, and then I try to give him as much of what I see during the season as possible. I just think it's Cooper being confident and making that move to center about the small stuff. Being able to use the offhand, being able to tailor-make what your steps and targets need to be in the run game and pass protection for a center to be versus all the time he spent at guard at Kansas State. I'm going to come back to this. But of note, that was 2 of the first specific call-outs about the previous coaching staff that I do not think should be ignored. Again, we'll come back to that at the end. It's called a tease in the business. I think another leap is coming from Cooper Beebe. I think that we saw good growth down the stretch last year. We saw him become a better player overall as the year went along. The first 9 games, he allowed 3 sacks, 5 hits, 6 hurries. The last 7, admittedly kind of a different offense, trying to get that ball out as fast as humanly possible because they didn't rush, can't push the ball downfield anyway. 4 hurries allowed. No sacks, no hits, no penalties. The run blocking, the highest graded game. They had 2 or 3 games higher than his previous one. He got better. I don't think we've seen the best yet of Cooper Beebe. I think a step forward is coming this season. So who will be better this year of the 2 second-year offensive linemen? TG for Tyler Gayton, CB for Cooper Beebe. As for Tyler Booker, who was also working with Manyweather, they're working on cross-training as he's making the move from left guard to right guard. What Duke believes in, and I do like this from an offseason training perspective, especially if you have to go play it in a pinch, is you don't just train on one side. You want to train on both sides. And that was already in progress pre-draft. Now it's like you're not just training some right guard, you're getting a lot more right guard. I feel pretty confident that Booker's going to hit the ground running, so to speak. Hopefully he's not on the ground very much. It's a bad thing for an offensive line. But I think he's going to have a good season. Maybe he's not going to be instantly as good as prime Zach Martin was, but I do think Booker's play style fits what this new Cowboys coaching staff wants to do. I think he's got all the right attitude, power you search for. If you've had issues with the lack of power at times from the middle of the Cowboys offensive line, shouldn't be an issue this season. Now, we will have more Cowboys news, rumors, and everything else in between. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Finally, there's a longtime Manyweather client, worker, whatever you want to call it, Terrence Steel. Hand usage and boosting the mobility post-ACL tear. Here's what Duke said. Mike Solari, the previous Cowboys offensive line coach, wanted Steel to do different things with his hands that I didn't necessarily agree with and that I think didn't work for Terrence. I think late last year saw him get back to some of the timing with his hands that worked for him. I think that's kind of what it's going to be with Conor Riley this year. We're on the same page with that. So really, I saw a big difference in Terrence's movement in the spring, and I see a big difference already this summer and how he's moving in terms of change of direction and really confidence back in his knee. All that to me sounds good for Terrence Steel. Like, all that is a positive thing as he moves forward and kind of a make or break season for him. And I've got one big takeaway on the Cowboys offensive line piece from CBS, and it's a comment I've made before. Mike Solari was a football terrorist. I said that in season because it felt like the offensive line kind of got worse at points early on. You got Duke Manyweather saying Coop Beebe didn't get detailed coaching in the season after he made the move to center. And he says Terrence Steele's coaching wasn't good for him. And the new coaching staff is kind of getting back to what Steel does better. And this is a big part of why the Cowboys have some hope for the offensive line. The new staff should be an upgrade. The what they want to do should benefit guys like Terrence Steel. And that's a good thing. Look, back in 2022, even though he was never an elite pass blocker, Terrence Steel was good. He was a great run blocker. 2023, coming off the injury, it was kind of bad. He was a really bad pass protector, and he was a middling at best run blocker. Last year, he was kind of middling. Still not a great pass protector, wasn't as good, not quite back to his run blocking form. And if Steel doesn't make it improve this year, if he doesn't take a step forward, he's probably going to get cut. But I do think the cohesion and alignment from your actual offensive line coach in Conor Riley and your secret offensive line coach in Duke Manyweather is a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys.